everybody. Welcome to BitLab Academy. We have an incredible discussion today. Why Bitcoin? If you're watching this and you're already involved in the crypto ecosystem, special shout out to you. But this is for not only you, but it's for your friends, your families, your neighbors. It's for you to also have talking points, not only over the holiday season, but all the time, dispelling a lot of those questions. I want to shout out to everybody that's here right now that is a member of BitLab Academy, whether you're a member of the actual academy, where we break down everything from beginner to pro, from what is Bitcoin, what is blockchain, to understanding charts, chart analysis, how to pick where to buy, where to sell, an entire trading suite to give you all the tools and resources you need so that you can dominate in this market. The best asset in the history of the world, the best opportunity many of us will ever see. So shout out. I want to see every one of you that is a BitLab member here on the YouTube dropping those emojis, dropping something positive, and finding some gratitude about what's going on in your life, because no matter how hard things are, there's always something to be grateful for. What are we talking about today? How is Bitcoin something that's good? How is it something why is it something I should be a part of? What are those common questions? Isn't Bitcoin a scam? Why would I not just park my money in CDs when they're giving 5 or 6%? Why would I not just be in stocks and bonds? This is to dispel all the misinformation about Bitcoin. This is to give you that ammunition for those conversations, because there's so much misinformation out there. Looking right here, by the way, I should say, my name is Kellam. Welcome to BitLab Academy. I'm proud to be here talking with you, and thank you for following along. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ding the bell, and remember to share this with your friends and family. Have this in your pocket to either show them the video or take down some notes on some of these facts so that you can provide good quality information, because let's be honest, it's not just that we're all Bitcoin and crypto evangelists. The truth is the dollar is failing. Not only is the dollar failing, but we're seeing pervasive inflation around the world. Ask yourself right now, are things more expensive or less expensive than they were in the year 2000? And is it in line with that 8%? For instance, here in the US, we had 8% inflation last year, and typically they say the target is around 2%. Seems to me like the cost of things has gotten out of control. And why is that? Why has the cost of things gotten out of control? Because it is controlled by a central government, and central government and central banks are, at the end of the day, they're people. They're fighting for control. There's not a currency in the history of the world that has sustained and endured over time. Every fiat currency in the history of the world has failed. What is fiat, you ask? The dollars in your pocket, Canadian dollars, US dollars, the yuan, the yen, the British pound, the euro. That's fiat. It's a representation. It's a social contract that we agree has a certain amount of value. But the funny thing is, think about what's happened even since March of 2020. We all know what happened. Think about the devaluation of that dollar that's in your pocket. You've worked your butt off for. And what are they doing? They're printing more money that's ever been seen in the history of the world in the last, 3 to 5 years, printing dollars out of control. So let's talk about it. Everybody, again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell, check out bitlabacademy.com for more information, and joining us here in this community of amazing community of traders, investors, people that have been in these markets to help walk you through this all, and also join with the community of people that are looking to the future. So let's talk about what's going on here. Bitcoin, hasn't it died so many times? I mean, looking at this chart, we can see, yeah, man, it has had some crashes, but every crash that we see here on the chart, this crash right here has represented in a low, and then the price action has moved up, and we've represented in a higher low. So these incredible crashes that have been in the 80 to 87%, sounds incredible. 87% drawdown does not mean price go all the way back down close to zero. No, it's representing a huge pullback that also represents a higher low. It's stair-stepping up, 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 and away. And there's some key things I'm going to talk about in this video that's going to show you why that is. And these key things, these facts, are some of the many reasons why Bitcoin is the best asset in the history of the world, because it's also outside of that control of people, outside of the control of an individual government or bank. It is spread across every Bitcoin miner on the network. And we're going to get into all this over the course of this video to help you understand why Bitcoin. Why Bitcoin? And why not the dollar? Well, we're going to break this down. So coming over here, I just want to show you, no, that's not what I want to show. I want to show you right here, the Bitcoin obituaries. This is how many times Bitcoin has died according to the mainstream media. So why should you follow it? Well, here's an honest fact that shows you mainstream media is lying to you. And I'm not here being a conspiracy theorist talking about, oh, you shouldn't believe mainstream media, blah, blah, blah. I'm not on the right. I'm not on the left. I'm just a person here that knows the facts about Bitcoin, that knows that all these sculpted FUD narratives, what is FUD? Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. This is a propaganda machine paid for by a lot of the big banks and governments, and just misinformation of people not knowing what the hell they're talking about. So if Bitcoin has died this many times, why the hell is Bitcoin going up over time? If it's dead, how is it rising from the ashes? Is Bitcoin Jesus? No, it's not. It's something that is agnostic to all people able to control it. This is everybody on network participating in this ecosystem. Not only that, we can see with this chart right here, this is the value of the dollar over time, the purchasing power, 1929. Back here, actually, all the way back to this is like 1913 here. This is what, just look at the value of the purchasing power. With $1, you could buy 26 Hershey bars. This may seem nonsensical, but think about this. Here, we can see different acts and different moves by Congress and the US government over time that has completely devalued the dollar. And this day and age, back here in 2020, 3 years ago, you could now only buy $1 McDonald's coffee. And this is representative of the mismanagement of fiat currency, the printing. We've seen over $30 trillion printed. We've seen over 30 trillion. We've seen our debt grow to over $30 trillion. Apologize for my misspeak there. Over $30 trillion. We're soon going to have over $1 trillion a year just in debt interest payments that we're going to have to pay. Wars that we have. Every war that we have rises the cost, the budget that we have here in the US. All excuses to print more money. We can see right here, this is not the chart I wanted to show. We can see right here, this is the value of Bitcoin, the purchasing power of Bitcoin over time. Because we can look at the value on a chart of what the value of it is in terms of what's it trading at today. No, I want to look at what the value of what I'm holding is going to deliver to my ability to buy things and store value over time. This is the purchasing power of Bitcoin. Look at it. Yes, this seems like it's just something somebody drew, but this is the truth. This is the value of the dollar, as we can see represented in this chart right here. Something that you could buy in 2001 at the grocery store, $25, would now cost you somewhere in the neighborhood of $70 to $80. This lie that they're telling you about inflation, that we're targeting around 2%, they're cherry picking certain things to make those numbers come in line with what they're doing. They're printing away your money. So gold, yeah, gold is a store of value, but we can see the purchasing power of this is going up, but it's not even close to what's happening with Bitcoin. Well, why is this? The reason this is because with Bitcoin, there is a fixed cap limit, absolute, everybody on network agrees on, because it's programmed into the chain. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. Total. They cannot print away an issue. They cannot create more Bitcoin. Are Bitcoin being created out of thin air? Well, it depends on how you think about it. There are Bitcoin being created roughly every 10 minutes. That's known as a block. There's Bitcoin created for the miners that are on the network that are confirming the transactions. They compete. They compete to solve an incredibly hard, and it's a variable difficulty depending on how many different miners are trying to mine and process blocks, but they compete to see who could do it first. And by all these miners competing, they are securing the network. They're making it the most secure network in the history of the world. Quantum computing can't even contend with Bitcoin for now or for the foreseeable future. And as that technology develops, the mining technology will develop right along with it. There's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin. You cannot have more than that. That's less than the total number of millionaires in the US alone. Think about that. Not even every millionaire can have one Bitcoin. Now, the question is, well, I can't afford Bitcoin. I can't afford right now. It's in the 30s. Let's even say it was 10. Let's even say it was 100. It doesn't matter what the price is. Say you feel like you can't afford Bitcoin because you don't have enough to buy a Bitcoin. That's the wrong way to think about it, because Bitcoin is it's not infinitely divisible, but it's nearly infinitely divisible. You can buy $5 worth of Bitcoin. You can buy $1 worth of Bitcoin. You can buy $10,000 worth of Bitcoin. You can get fractional portions of a Bitcoin depending on what it is you want to buy. And you could trade it on an exchange. You could trade it person to person. You could trade it on a decentralized exchange. Everybody has access to this. And not only does everybody have access to it, remember, when I talked about those miners mining Bitcoin, they're not just creating Bitcoin out of thin air. They're doing work. That's why the protocol is called proof of work. They have to compete to mine these blocks and confirm the transactions. Well, what does that mean? Every transaction that's ever done on Bitcoin is agreed upon by all the miners competing to do that, to mine that block, to confirm that block. So everybody's agreeing, I agree with all these transactions. And then when the miner wins that block to mine, then that block is attached to a chain. That's why it's called blockchain. So you can look at the blockchain on, anybody can. You can do it right now. You can look at the blockchain and see a list of every transaction that has ever happened. So this idea from the government or from mainstream media that it's bad because it's used for illicit activities, well, I ask you a question. Before Bitcoin was around, how did any illegal activity ever take place? It didn't take place on Bitcoin. In fact, even though that Bitcoin is around now, there's been CIA reports that a very small fraction, I'm talking a minuscule fraction of activity on Bitcoin is illegal of any regard. The fact of the matter is when you have people involved with something, people will do illicit things. But the funny thing about this argument is even if there was some illicit activity happening, wouldn't you want it to be on a trackable blockchain that everybody can see and track down? The argument by the government that there's some illicit things that can happen. Well, think about how many hundreds, not dollars, not hundreds of dollars, not thousands, not millions, not tens of millions, not hundreds of millions, billions, probably in the trillions of dollars are being money laundered and being held in traditional banking right now just from the Mexican drug cartel. And you're telling me that Bitcoin is bad? I think you got it mistaken. I think you're following a narrative that somebody wanted you to follow because they don't want you to have financial sovereignty. Bitcoin is on a transparent network that everybody's agreeing on the transactions. It's confirmed. They're competing to do it. There's an effective inability to scam the network because everybody has to agree upon it. The best way to describe it is like this. If I go and put money in a bank, that bank puts my money on their ledger that they have my money. Now, if that bank changes a ledger, there's nothing I can do about it. But if I put my money in Bitcoin, every network, everybody on the network in Bitcoin sees that my transaction was done there and that I hold it and that I own it. The only bad actor that can really, truly affect my holding of Bitcoin is myself if I'm irresponsible and I give my keys, if I give my password to somebody else. That's entirely different from US dollars or any fiat currency out there. Now, I want to come back over here. There's a couple questions, and there's a sheet down in the description of this video, and it has a lot of questions and answers on here. And you'll see it down below in the description. You can download it. I made it a shareable document, and there's a lot of stuff here, and I'm not going to go through every one of these, but it talks about what Bitcoin is, how does it work, mining, why do people use Bitcoin? And it means, you can invest, you can transact money. I mean, think about this right now. If I send money to my friend or family in another country, or even to myself. I used to live in Thailand. I had to send money from my bank to my US bank, from my US bank to my Thai bank. It took over a week for me to get my own money. Why is that? The banks are making money. The banks are making money on your money in transit. They're making money holding that essentially like an escrow or a liquidity account that they can still utilize that money to borrow, lend, basically financial services until it fully effectively goes into your bank account. With Bitcoin, you can send $10, 10 million, hundreds of millions, hundreds of billions. Effectively, it'll be there within the time it takes to process a block, on average about 10 minutes. And the fees are astronomically low. It's not a $35 wire transaction fee. No, you could probably send $100 million. If we pull it up here right now, large transactions of Bitcoin. Oops. Fees on large transactions of Bitcoin. Okay. Bitcoins. Here we go. $194 million worth of Bitcoin was moved using Bitcoin with a 10-cent fee. So not only is it more transparent, not only is it faster, not only are the fees astronomically low, but it's also the safest network in the history of the world. And it's putting the power, it's putting the ownership, it's putting the individual sovereignty into your hands. This is the best asset in the history of the world. And think about that fixed supply, the fixed supply of 21 million. We talked about inflation. Does that mean there's no inflation on Bitcoin? That's incorrect. There is inflation on Bitcoin, but you know the difference? Let's go ahead and type this in. Difference in inflation of Bitcoin versus US dollar visualized. So here is the inflation rate of, I don't even know what this is. We're going to see it. Bitcoin's inflation rate versus the US dollar. So this is Bitcoin's inflation rate. This is a dollar's worth. There's a better graphic in here. I know I saw it earlier. Image. This is it right here. Bitcoin inflation rate. See this line that's coming right here? This is every 4 years we have the halving. We've talked about this. Every 4 years we have the halving. Those miners that are competing to confirm a block, they get a reward to do so. Years ago, it was like 50, then it got down to 25, then it got down to 12. Every 4 years, which is actually 210,000 blocks. Blocks are about 10 minutes. Every 4 years, the reward they get, this is how they've gone from 0 Bitcoin to now over 19 million in the last 14 years. It's going to take over 100 years for that last 2 million to be mined. Why? Because the inflation rate is divided in half every 4 years. Whereas with the dollar, we've only seen the US dollar go parabolic in the inflation rate. I want to see Bitcoin in inflation versus US dollar. I mean, supply and inflation. We're getting an arc that is in the favor for anybody that's participating in this ecosystem, especially early, especially any of you that are watching right now. If you're already involved, drop a bull emoji in the chat right now. Drop a comment down below. What is your born on date? When did you get involved? What month, what year? You're not too late. We've seen Bitcoin go from basically $0 up to over 69,000, and it's crashed. Oh my God, it's crashed. But you know what crashes are in the price? You know what crashes are in the price of Bitcoin? Crashes are, in the price of Bitcoin, opportunities. This was an excellent opportunity. This was an excellent opportunity. This all has been an excellent opportunity. And we feel like, oh, but I don't, it's already up to 37,000. If you look in the long term of the fixed supply of Bitcoin and the number of people on the planet that are not even involved yet, it shows you that this is something that it is the best opportunity in the history of the world. And we are coming up right now on the next halving. This is a period of time, we're just showing, this is a periods of time of where we're at right now. It's representing in previous cycles where we are in relationship to the halving. We're coming up on it. And we can see in the history of Bitcoin, every time we've had a halving, post-halving, we have a parabolic uptrend. And then we have, basically, it gets overhyped. Everybody's buying, and the strong-handed people that understand how this market works starts taking profits into these people that are buying the hype. And then the market does its work to shake those people out. And then those people that are looking to, and they understand how valuable this asset is, we have another opportunity here in these lows to buy pre-halving and set up for another exponential gain. And not only that, this is just, we're talking about the mechanics of Bitcoin. The fact that inflation is halving. It's being divided in half every 4 years. And we only have about 400, looking at this chart right here, there's 460 million addresses out there. Roughly 37% are economically relevant. Most belong to crypto exchanges and third parties. And not every address is associated with one person. In fact, we can see right here, there's only 67 million accounts that are funded with at least $1 worth of Bitcoin. There's roughly 8 billion people on this planet. We have a fixed supply. We're early. It's transparent. The inflation goes down by half every 4 years. And demand is only going to increase, not only because the reduction in inflation and the limited supply, but also because we have an exponential number of people ready on the cusp of flowing into this market. We have Bitcoin ETFs on the horizon. BlackRock, which is the world's largest asset manager in history, over $11 trillion in assets under management. The CEO, Larry Fink, previously said that Bitcoin was an index for money laundering. And if that's the case, then why are they right now pushing the forefront of really driving the Bitcoin spot ETF, giving everybody access? They're now switched their tune. They say that Bitcoin will transcend all international currencies. We will see a flight to quality. Quality in this conversation that he's talking about is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the only quality asset in the world, in the history of the world. If you look at the dynamics of how it was created, what it is, how it operates, Bitcoin is the flight to quality. Shout out to the super chat. I believe that was from Sawtooth Hiker. I appreciate you. Said, good morning, fam. I wish everyone to have an amazing Thanksgiving holiday week. And again, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you to your friends, your family. Thank you to everybody. They wonder, is Bitcoin a scam? No, it's not. The US dollar is a scam. This is a US dollar. You can buy less and less with it. We've lost about 90% of our purchasing power or more since 1971. Housing prices have gone through the roof. Education has gone through the roof. Inflation in common everyday goods and commodities gone through the roof. And not only has they gone through the roof, the value of your dollar is less in addition to that. The wage gap, the prosperity gap in America has shifted. I mean, it's completely broken since 1971 when we went off the gold standard. Everybody says, is Bitcoin a scam? It's magic internet money. No, you're absolutely wrong. Why? Because you know what's magic money? The US dollar, because it's printed with no backing. And if you wondered, oh no, it's backed by gold. No, it's not. Check your facts. I think the common misconception here is that the dollar is backed by something. The dollar is only backed by our military. The dollar is backed by our might. There is nothing intrinsically that backs the US dollar's value. Nothing. It's not backed by anything. They can print on command, and every time they print to fund a war somewhere else, whether or not you agree with those wars, think about the dollars in your pocket. Do you agree with every time they print to fund something that doesn't even do anything for your country, whether we're talking about America, whether we're talking about Brazil, it doesn't matter where in the world we are. Think about your wallet, think about your family, think about how you are going to work hard or how you have worked hard, and does the work that you did that translated to whatever currency is in your country, is it maintaining its purchasing power, or is all your hard work being devalued because you can buy less with the money that you saved? That's the question you got to ask yourself. Even if you don't want to hear about Bitcoin, even if you don't care about it, ask yourself the question, are you satisfied with the purchasing power of your dollar going down every day? That's the question you have to ask yourself. And if you're not, then ask yourself, is there an option out there that provides transparency, that provides the ability to understand what is going on with this currency or this asset that I'm holding? You know, the interesting thing about Bitcoin is not only do you have a transparent network that everybody has to agree on all the transactions, and it's secure and it's fast and the fees are nominal at best, it's also gives you the ability, like you are the highest tier investor in history, because you can use things like on-chain data. This might look like nothing to you, but this is just a chart showing number of active addresses. But because this is a transparent network and everybody can look into the data, you can use things like Glassnode or look into bitcoin.com or I forget there's several other ones, but look into bitcoin.com is a good free one. Glassnode, here, these are just some of my favorites. I can see number of addresses with over 1,000 Bitcoin. Why do I care about this? I can see what people with a lot of money are doing, so I can trade and invest like them. If they're buying near a bottom, look at this, increasing here towards the bottom. And look at this, as price has gone up, they've decided to get out of some of the assets. So these people that are trading, if you're actively trading, not investing, you can see what's smart money doing. You can also see over here, you can see percent of the supply and profit. You can see this on stocks as well, but you can also see what's going on with the super wealthy people, the Bitcoin addresses with over 10,000 Bitcoin. Man, if you're wondering, do I get out here? We see a huge decline in the number of addresses with 10,000. So this means maybe there's some weakness coming in. You can also come see over here, you can see that the health of the Bitcoin miners. What's their profitability? And when you see these orange lines coming down here into the green, this is probably getting into a good area to buy. When you see this getting very high, it's probably getting a little overheated. And we see each time this gets relatively high, price action has had some trouble. We can also see here, realized profit to loss ratio. We can zoom this out. We can see when people are selling, are they generally selling at a profit or at a loss? When you're looking for those excellent opportunities to buy into the next cycle, if you're trading or maybe you're getting in the first time, when these things are very high, maybe you should be a little cautious and wait for this to dip down a little bit, because that has proven each time this dips down in these lower areas, this has proven to be excellent times to buy. Now, you don't ever use one chart, you use multiple charts. By the way, we go through all of this in BitLab Academy. If we come over here, go to view all, bitlabacademy.com, and it starts from absolute basics to taking you through of really breaking down what's going on, breaking down blockchain, Bitcoin. We have a whole crypto beginners course, and then also the on-chain analysis, helping you understand what the behavior of every participant on network are doing. So if we come back over here to glass, and also candles, candle patterns, indicators, we break it all down. So, but coming back over here to Glassnode, we can also see right here, net realized profit and loss, realized profits to value. Where are we at? And you can use different charts to give you an analysis, give you an understanding of where you are in a market cycle and whether or not it's a good opportunity. Like this, look how low this is. Great opportunity to buy. Look how low this came. Great opportunity to buy. Look how low this came. So as price is coming down and Bitcoin is dying, it's dying. No, that is a signal to you when everybody's scared. That's when you do your Warren Buffett. That's when you take advantage of the opportunity of a lifetime. When you have 8 billion people on this planet, when you have 8 billion people on this planet and only, arguably somewhere between 100, 300 million people in the world, maybe 400, let's even call it 700 million. It's much lower than that, because the number of addresses versus the number of people that are actively involved in Bitcoin and crypto, it's smaller than you think. We are on the cusp of a paradigm change because we see countries organizing things like BRICS, and they're not wrong for it. They don't want their economies tied to the monetary policy decisions of the US, putting their economies under pressure, using our dollar as a weapon. Bitcoin is agnostic to every government and every person out there. It's operating based on the protocol that is programmed into it, and everybody agrees on it. Now, is Bitcoin bad for the environment? Well, I'm glad you asked, because it is absolutely not bad for the environment. It is, in fact, where's the charts I just had? I just want to talk to you a little bit here. Bitcoin over time has only become more efficient, more and more efficient. Not only has it become more efficient, it's become more green, much more green. And we see right here, according to research, Bitcoin Mining Council, the Bitcoin mining industry is one of the most sustainable industries globally. According to research from the Bitcoin Mining Council, I'm going to read it again. The Bitcoin mining industry is one of the most sustainable industries globally, with an estimate of 60% of the energy coming from sustainable sources. So when people tell you, oh, it's bad for the environment, well, let's talk about all those Christmas lights that go up every year. Let's talk about you using your washer or your dryer. You know how much energy is used using washers and dryers? Or, okay, let's talk about fiat currency. Okay, fiat currency, let's talk about the paper, the trees cut down for the paper, the machines, the facilities to manufacture and print out this money, and then the transport and the cost of gas to do that. And then the banks, all the banks that nobody's using anymore, we're already a digital economy. The majority of stuff I buy online. Even when I lived in New York, 90% of the groceries I bought online and had them delivered. Our credit cards, you tell me how your credit card works. You tell me how your magnet strip works. You tell me how you don't understand all that. So don't give me this hooey that you don't understand Bitcoin so you're not going to get into it. No, you are part of a paradigm of just allowing ourselves to be ignorantly enslaved to the monetary policy decisions of government. We're comfortable with this lack of knowledge with the dollar, but we say that we're not going to get into the best opportunity of our lifetime because we don't understand how it works. Well, I'm here for you. That's what we're watching this video for right now. That's why I'm breaking this down, because it is the best opportunity. Not only, I won't even talk about it speculatively. Not that, yeah, you'll make money if you buy and hold a long period of time, but it's also a step out of control from other people controlling you and into you taking responsibility and you taking control of your future. It is meant for everybody. In fact, I don't have it up. I had it up yesterday for another video, but this is another article talking about the sustainable energy use for Bitcoin grows nearly 60% in a year. We're seeing over time that money does drive the world. And if your concern is the sustainability of Bitcoin, then the argument there is it's not a bad one. You know, believe in the environment. Great. The point is, money does rule the world. Nowadays, you can see with Bitcoin mining, there's so many different effects of, and I have several things written down here right here. So, well, is Bitcoin bad for the environment? Well, let's see. Well, it encourages renewable energy use. Bitcoin mining can be powered by renewable energy sources like solar, wind, hydroelectric power. Miners are incentivized to use the cheapest power available. Why? Because they have wider profit margins. They can make more money. So even if the Bitcoin miners could care less about the environment, they care about their bottom line. And if using renewable energy drives up their bottom line, they're going to be using every means that they can to make that renewable energy source better. So, which often leads them to renewable energy sources. And it's going to monetizing the ability to use renewable energy is also going to drive renewable energy forward. It's going to make it evolve more rapidly than it ever has. Promoting energy efficiencies innovations. The high energy costs associated with mining encourages the development of more energy efficient mining hardware and technologies, potentially benefiting broader energy efficient efforts. Great. Enabling better energy distribution. Bitcoin mining can be set up in remote areas close to renewable energy sources, which might otherwise go unused due to transmission losses or lack of demand. So now we can also create more renewable energy centers that are, in far out of reach kind of areas. Stabilizing renewable energy grids. We've already seen this a lot in Texas. Bitcoin mining can provide a constant demand for energy, which helps stabilize grids with high proportions of renewable energy, which can be intermittent. And if you have a huge demand of energy that does come in, you can turn off some of the miners. Utilizing excess energy. We're seeing this a lot with oil. When you're burning off, you ever drive by those stacks and you see oil flaring off the top? That's wasted energy. It's lost. Bitcoin mining can use surplus energy. By the way, did you all know that over 30% of the energy created annually is wasted? It's just gone. So a big portion of this energy that's going to start being used for Bitcoin mining, it's not new energy being created. It's utilizing energy that has been being wasted. Bitcoin mining can use surplus energy that would otherwise be wasted, such as excess hydroelectric power during rain seasons or wind energy during particularly windy periods. Also, the flare-off gas that we're seeing there. Harnessing energy and storing that over time. Driving investment in renewable projects. The profitability of Bitcoin mining using renewable energy can attract more investments into renewable energy infrastructure. So if you believe in the environment, the number one thing you should believe in also to fund the change in how we're affecting the environment with Bitcoin mining is, and just the world in general, being people here, creating carbon emissions, doing stuff that maybe it does affect the environment. You should be a Bitcoiner if that's the case. Fostering decentralized energy system. Decentralized nature of Bitcoin mining can encourage and complement decentralized renewable energy systems, promoting local energy generation and consumption. Facilitating energy trade. Blockchain technology, which underlies Bitcoin, can be used to create more efficient systems for trading and distributing energy. Everything about Bitcoin, from your personal sovereignty, from your ability to store value, from its transparency, from its safety, from every aspect. And then on top of this, it also is going to drive more efficient energy sources. It's going to stabilize our grids. It's going to give you the ability to have financial sovereignty. There's few things out here. There's few arguments that I've ever heard, and the answer is zero, against Bitcoin. So let's just kind of wrap this up here, right here. Bitcoin, whether or not you agree with it, this is for all your friends and family members and everybody. The US dollar, the Canadian dollar, the Turkish lira, the Argentinian, I believe it's called the peso, the bolivar, we're seeing runaway inflation all over the world. And in fact, if you're asking yourself, how come I'm working harder and being able to buy less? It's because the system is rigged against you. You have the world over. I don't know what happened. Here we go. The world over, we can see right here. This is a global outlook for projected annual inflation by country. This is a little past due, but past dated, but it makes sense. These orange are upwards of 50% inflation. The blues are 20 to 25%. Less than 5%, very, very few. The point is, governments around the world are printing your dollars out of control. All the hard work you're doing, you're only going to have to work harder, and you're only going to be able to get less. Bitcoin, at minimum, should have some sort of allocation or at least interest in time to look into it, because it is an alternative to every broken system that has ever existed in the history of humanity in relationship to how I can hold money and make sure that I can take care of my family, and make sure also, we just found out, it also helps drive forward positive things for renewable energy development and for the environment. There's no other answer. Bitcoin is the answer. So with that, I just want to say, everybody, make sure you head over to bitlabacademy.com. Join us here, enroll right here. We've got some great deals coming out. So sign up for this newsletter right here. We're going to be having some really big specials over the holidays. And I want y'all to be able to educate yourself on this paradigm shift so that you can navigate it. I love each and every one of you. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic holiday. I hope you share love with your friends and family. If you get into arguments, don't step into who you used to be, which all of us have done. We could have grown, we could have matured, and then we get back with family and we act like we did 10 years ago. And then afterwards, we're like, why the hell am I acting like I'm 17 years old? Because we don't allow ourselves to shift paradigms. And if we can't do it with our family, how are we going to do it with our finances? Let's all be the bigger person. Let's not be trolls. Let's not be passive aggressive. Let's share love and patience for somebody else. Because even if somebody else is having a bad day, it does not mean we need to have a bad day. Sometimes the most compassionate thing you can do, and in fact, my definition of compassion is to be able to sit with somebody through their fire and not get burned. And if you're able to do that, people will feel loved and appreciate the fact that you didn't take it to the next step and another level of the argument. And now you can have a conversation. And maybe that conversation will be about Bitcoin because, as I said, Bitcoin is the answer. Now, if you want to get involved, if you want to go through this document that I posted, the link is down in the description right down below. And it really breaks down a lot of just different talking points from energy use to mining to what is Bitcoin to what is blockchain to, the fact that governments around the world are moving to de-dollarize. It's only going to cause stress on the US economy. It's only going to cause stress on the Western economy. Bitcoin is the best asset in the history of the world. Those are some of my thoughts why. Now, before we go, I want to see every single one of you. I know a lot of you that are watching this live may know all this stuff, but these are some talking points that we can show and share these different people in our life so we can make sure that they understand that they're sitting at the forefront of the best opportunity in the history of the world if we only take a step to engage with some of these things. And just, you don't have to buy. I'm not telling anybody to buy. I'm saying explore this opportunity and look into it a little bit and ask yourself, is $1 in your pocket worth it? That's all I got. I love y'all. I want to see emojis flying in the comments on the left, on the right-hand side. I want to see your comments down below. Have you orange pilled anybody in your family yet? Because last year was a little rough. A couple years before was, but this is a year we're coming into the best time in history with BlackRock, with ETFs, with institutions coming right on this horizon, right here, institutions about to flood in, and so few people globally are already involved. Let's get everybody involved. I love each and every one of you. Let's see some bulls in the chat. Let's see some lab coats. I want to shout out each and every member that is here with the BitLab YouTube membership and also the BitLab Academy. I will be doing a live stream this afternoon, and it's going to work this time because I'm in studio. I love you all. I hope I can see some of your friends and family here on this stream, here in the Academy. Let's do this together. This is a community thing. I love you all. And with that, all I got to say, happy holidays, and I'll see you again because I'm here daily. So I'll see you. Adios. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for tuning in. BitLabAcademy.com.